Welcome back to the Tier 1 Podcast. I'm your host, Brent Tucker, owner of FRCC. We do coffee, cigars, and bourbon, and we do it better than anybody else. You can trust me, or you go to frcc.shop and find out for yourself. Use Tier 1 as a promo code and get 15% off your purchase.
And I'm Drew Tucker, male model for FRCC.shop. I invite you to join the Patreon here, sponsored by Cobalt Kinetics. There you'll get exclusive content. There's a fitness forum. There's a gun forum. And in that gun forum is a weapons expert by Cobalt Kinetics, ready to answer all your weapons questions. That alone is worth the Patreon. Join Patreon today. You'll be glad you did.
And this episode is brought to you by Human Performance TRT. Go to HP-TRT for all your testosterone and peptide needs. It is not too late to make your New Year's resolution come true and make 2026 the best year of your life. Use promo code Tier 1 and get 20% off there as well.
Or new Special Forces Regiment.
Welcome to the Tier 1 Podcast.
This is amazing, dude. Check this out, right?
And with us today, we have Dutch Moyer. Before I get into introducing him too much, I want to give him some thank yous for coming. We've been trying to get this together for a while.
That is true story. Why? Thank you.
That one's for you. That's from Brotherhood Blades. Go ahead and open it. Some tells me you got a few like these, but I say it every time because it's true. I don't think a man's ever got a nice knife and said, "Oh, that's okay. I have enough knives."
I met someone just the other day in the Maximum Defense booth at the SHOT Show, and they were talking about knives. Well, what did you want? More knives. More knives. I want more blades. I want more.
I don't use a fraction of the knives I have yet I can't get rid of them, and I love every new one that I get.
This is very nice, and of course this one's way different because it says Tier 1 right on it. So thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you.
And because you are a unique guest for us, we may have worked in the same building at similar times. It makes it just a little bit more special for me. It does.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Thank you, bro.
And that one's for you. I don't think we've ever given a bottle away to guests, and that's gonna hope that doesn't upset some former guests because they absolutely deserved one. But I want to give that to you.
Gosh, thank you very much, Brent. Thank you.
Mind open it up and smoke some cigars after this and tell some more stories.
That would be preposterous. Also welcome. So, but Drew, he changes his moniker every time.
I never know what he's going to say.
So I didn't know he was a male model for FRCC, but
news.
Neither did anybody else.
Yeah, news to me as well.
thanks. Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So who are we giving all these gifts to? If you don't know, you should. Dutch Moyer is a 31-year veteran of the United States Army, retired sergeant major. He was an E6 twice. That's unique.
Also
about
a true
you.
story.
True story. We'll get into that. He was startup tank crew member, moved to the National Guard, went to Ranger Regiment, eventually became a Tier 1 operator in the U.S. Army. I think I had a fairly unique road to Tier 1, but when I learned more about you, I was like, Dutch has got a pretty unique road.
This is funny. It's just it's just like life. It's strange. It goes in different pathways, but it's
I don't know what the data is, but I don't believe there's a lot of tankers in the unit.
There was one really good guy, and he was an ammo guy.
Really? And then there was you. So well, they got a pretty good lineage for the ones that made it. They just have to make it. That's
at least
all.
I went Ranger beforehand.
You
so,
did.
yeah.
You did. So which I was telling you before this, it's both unique because of how you started and the way you kind of wandered into it. Yet it's also not at all because you were at Ranger Regiment before then. And we're going to get into it all. In fact, let's start at the beginning.
We can start at the beginning.
What year did you join?
I was born a poor black man in 1964. That's a reference, right? It's a movie reference.
It was never easy for me. I was born a poor black child.
That was before. I did not recognize it, but we'll get it.
That's already a faux pas. If I admit the quote, I should know where it came from. So anyway, so was it the Steve Martin maybe? All right. Anyway, it's old school. Jerk. The question was when I joined the Army in December of 1981.
I'm sorry. Did you say 81?
It's so strange when I say it because it really didn't feel like a long time ago. But when you look back now, I'm like, good God, it's a long time ago. So,
I love doing episodes with friends because you can harass them right there in the episode.
I'm so old.
But but you think about it. I mean, what your career spanned and we'll get into it, like between the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s, and I'm sure each one of them were very unique.
It was super unique. I appreciate that. One shout out real quick. There's a tall blonde girl way in the back. She's got a question. Thanks for asking that question. The answer is, she's like, you're 80, dude, is what you are, is you're 80. So that's a shout out to her. She knows. If you know, you know, she knows it. So anyway.
So you go, why tanker?
Yeah, so in high school, even before high school, I used to work on models, tank models. That's my favorite. That's my thing. I always wanted to be a tank commander. I always wanted to be a tanker. I wanted to be a tank commander. I studied blitzkrieg warfare from the Germans. I read books when I was a kid, just over and over again. I was very voracious in that respect. I did a term paper on Erwin Rommel and George Patton. And so obviously that's armored warfare. I wanted to be part of that. And so I went and did it.
Yeah. One of my favorite books is Killing Patton by Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah. This whole Killing series is great. But that particular book might be my favorite. Man, I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know if you really want to, I think tank warfare has got to be just dangerous stuff.
Let's go.
Right?
No, let's talk about it. I mean,
but then again, it's not like you went later on in your career to something safe. So
I don't know. I agree with you. I mean, what would be fearful of you being in a tank?
So when you're dismounted, you can easily hide. You can hide behind things. Let's say you're not the machine gunner or the radio man. There's nothing on the battlefield that kind of highlights you to be like, we have to take this thing out first. But when you're in a tank, someone wants to take you out and take you out quickly.
Without a doubt, you're right. You're the heaviest and probably the most powerful piece of equipment on the field.
You're loud. You're hard to hide.
Yep, hard to hide.
So those are things that jump out at me.
Yeah, so getting hit by a sabot, which is armor piercing, discarding sabot round and having it drill through the hull and bounce around. You don't want that. You don't want to be caught on fire. So, but to me, it was glorious. To me, it was what they called it, the maneuver of armed combat. The Army had made a bunch of prints back in the day, and it was infantry was whatever she was, and artillery is the queen of battle. And
right.
Armor was the something of maneuver warfare, combat arm of maneuver warfare, something like that. I saw it in print when I was a kid, but. I just always wanted to be that guy rolling through the house. Growing up watching Kelly's Heroes, that was like the first real tank movie that I think I saw. Saw a couple other ones, Battle of the Bulge, which was done poorly, to be honest. But yeah, that's what I wanted, so I did it.
I feel like this could be the easiest question all day, but that's an assumption. Favorite tank movie?
Oh, Fury.
Absolutely.
Sure, Fury. Best job I ever had.
Best job ever
But
had.
it wasn't. Not for me, it wasn't. But
Oh man, it's how many times that's been said at the unit
Right,
after that movie. But they made tank warfare look cool, and it also showed like how dangerous it can be as well.
Terrifying. I mean, you're coming up against machines that are much bigger and better than yours, and that was true. All that was true. Not necessarily that battle was true with the Tiger tank that they go through, but the actions with a Sherman tank versus a Tiger tank were very true. They had to outmaneuver them to get to the rear. The Tigers were too powerful, but they weren't fast enough. So, and not only that, Germany didn't make them in any large numbers. They had to do a movie called Panther Tank, which is the Mark V, which is actually wasn't even obsolete until the late 50s. So that was an even better tank, but they didn't do a movie on that.
So why was our tanks superior to theirs, or just our numbers?
No, our numbers
tactics?
were superior.
Our tanks were
not
war?
superior. Yeah, the Mark V and Mark VI. The Tiger was the Mark VI, and she was devastating because of the 88. Because they decided to take this anti-aircraft gun and mount it to a turret. The Panther was a 75 millimeter high velocity. She was lighter, faster, had better sloping armor, but. Again, they didn't make their tanks in numbers.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not an apologetic guy for the German army. Don't get me wrong, but their technology. Can we look at cars right now? I mean, I don't know. Volkswagen holds a lot of marks, including Bugatti. And by the way, the BMW is a pretty nice car.
Well, when it comes to, I mean, they definitely had some, clearly some great scientists on their side because we took them. We took them for a reason.
Yeah, we did.
But they had a jet on the battlefield before we did.
Yep.
They did a lot of things that you don't have to like them as a country or as a military to not be able to respect what they were capable of doing and learn from it. You have to learn from your enemy.
And we did a good job because certainly armored warfare in the first Desert Storm, right, when our tanks go rolling across the field, when all the news pundits said, oh, the tanks aren't good enough, they won't make it, the M1s and the M60s, whatever, they crushed them. So
good to see our own news has been rooting for us in a while.
I think it's still that way.
But yeah, I know you love history, military history, World War II specifically, and I do as well. I love World War II because it's really the last great military venture, if you will, that had it all. Regardless, whatever you're into, it had it. Air-to-air battles, tank battles, airborne infantry, just infantry, mechanized, special operations, naval.
Yeah.
It had it all.
It was all over the world, by the way. Jungle warfare.
That's right.
Urban warfare.
Desert warfare.
Desert warfare. Yeah, it was all over the place, man. It was super cool.
It's so far away now. It's hard to even fathom how real it was. It's almost like it was a movie.
You know what? How cool it was to me, and I love this whole thing, by the way, because we can just sit here and have a great conversation, which is super cool. And then hopefully you can make some money off it. So, and I get a nice bottle of whiskey, by the way. So
far I've lost money on this venture.
Well, hopefully with some time you won't, because obviously what you got going on
we'll try to recoup
is
it.
really cool. But it was the end of empire. England, the sun set and rose on England. Germany had part of an empire. France had part of an empire. Really, America didn't have any empire at all. Russia wanted an empire. And then World War II, the end of World War II really saw almost completely the end of empire. Yeah. I think with the Berlin Wall coming down in 80, wasn't 86, was it? 82? 84? When the Berlin Wall came down, then that really kind of solidified Russia's empire falling apart. But with the Warsaw Pact, whatever. But it was the end of empire.
Yeah.
Japanese wanted an empire. They didn't get it. England's empire went away.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted freedom after that, right? So the French, same with them. They had part of North Africa. They had part of Indonesia. All gone. The Germans had part of South Africa. All gone. So anyway, interesting.
Yeah, and it's a perfect segue, actually, because part of that Russia wanting to expand their empire really goes into what was still a real world mission for you in the 80s as a tanker. Like it didn't end then. It continued for decades all the way into the 80s into your career.
It was very interesting in Germany in 1985 and 1986. The Red Scare was real. The Bader-Meinhof gang was a real thing. I mean, there was Dozier was taken by the Red Brigade. There was certainly a wall between communism and the West.
Yeah.
And, Berlin, we had to do a little bit of training in Berlin. So Berlin was split, but you had to go through enemy territory on a train closely guarded by the Soviets on your way to Berlin. Our training exercises really almost all revolved around the Fulda Gap.
Okay.
And that's the gap where the experts assumed that the Russians would come screaming through to take over the rest of the West. And we'd get alerted, go on alert. It wasn't anywhere near as alert in JSOC, mind you, but we'd go on alert, jump into the tanks and drive freaking 8 hours or whatever to the gap location. No matter if it was hot or cold, it didn't matter. You're going out there. And we didn't do anything, but.
Yeah. Tell me about because you had, this was a passion of yours as a kid. I mean, you put them together as models. The first time you're wearing uniform, you're in the military, and you get to walk to your tank. Like, do you remember that? Was it special to you, or surreal to some point, or not really?
No. So I was fortunate to be one of the better students in 1982. I can't remember the training brigade that I was part of right now. It escapes me. So I apologize for that. But me and it was Eddie Johnson, like 3 or 4 of us were frocked, if you will, promoted to training corporals. I was a private. And they gave us a sleeve, a chevron to wear as a training corporal. And we would stay for the next class. And I became much more knowledgeable about the tank and the system, just going through a whole other AIT.
Right.
And then I had to sign for a tank. Delta 32 was my tank. And I remember signing for that machine,
for
that
tank.
weapon system, the stuff that goes in at the radio, signed for the whole thing. And I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool moment. Segue, when Stripes was made. Bill
Very
Murray.
aware of that. Yep.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen it, right, you should.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
whoever's looking at
Classic.
that, you should watch that movie. They're hiding behind a tank in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and it's Delta 32.
No way.
Check it. Check me on that. Check my math.
Did you realize that at the time, or did it get told to you, or did you walk up to that thing and was like,
The
that's...
movie came out afterwards.
Okay.
I think I was in Germany, time frame, give or take.
Yeah. I can know that tank.
But the same dude that gave Bill Murray his underwear gave me mine. So same guy.
Small world.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
So weird.
Knowing if you're putting models together, I'm sure you're kind of consumed with it to some extent. Like, you think you know their capabilities. You think you know what a tanker life is about. Do you remember something that was drastically different to what you thought it was going to be, and then when you now this is your job, and it was either cooler than you thought or not as cool as you thought? Different? What was it about from your childhood knowing about this and your young adult life living it?
I think it's a great question. I think that the biggest thing to me was the massive amount of maintenance that goes along with this thing. Massive amount. Something's wrong with it all the time.
Not what you want in your war machines.
Yeah. When you made models, who cares? You're making a model. This is going to work all the time. When you're watching a movie, I don't think they spend a whole lot of time on maintenance.
No.
In Kelly's Heroes, they do a little bit. They talk about the maintenance of the machine because it goes down. But the massive amount of maintenance. And then going back to what's not that cool to me really starts with upper echelon leadership. I hope that you would say that in your experience in tier 1 level organizations or even SF, that there were some killers there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dudes that wanted to pull trigger, guys that wanted to really test their mettle and see what happened. Well, let me tell you about the armor. The armor companies, there wasn't a whole lot of killers there. There's a whole bunch of people who were really lazy.
Yeah, you felt like pose as a question, but you didn't feel like anyone there wanted to be a master of their craft.
There was a whole lot of folks that were just there to get paid.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So
yeah, which is scary because then you're just hoping at this point that the Russians are just as lazy.
I don't remember a first sergeant or a sergeant first class. I don't remember a young captain saying, "Hey, this is serious. Let's take, this is the real deal." I just don't remember that at all.
Yeah. And I think this really transcends time and generations. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of lazy people in every generation. I think people really underestimate the amount of men and young men that want to be challenged, that don't want a paycheck. They're looking there to learn something. They're looking there to make their time tangible and worthwhile. And sounds like you didn't get that.
Well, I met a young SF guy the other day who I liked a lot, tall, fit, meat eater. And I said, what about taking the next step, testing your mettle? He was like, nah, I don't think so. No. So he has no, you could be a Ranger. Instead of, you could do the opposite of what some young Rangers do when they get tired of being in a Ranger Regiment and they want to go be an SF guy. Yeah. Why don't you take the walk? Why don't you see what that's like? I said, because I asked him, what's his op tempo like? Well, what's your range time like? Well,
Yeah, doesn't have to be.
I'm like, you could go somewhere different. And he's like, nah, probably not. Wow. So even though he was a young red meat eater, it still didn't really want to go.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why some people are so hungry to get to a certain level, and that hunger doesn't just continue to drive them, which I think is foreign to me and you. Not to be boastful.
Do you think? No. It's just kind of true. But why?
Like everywhere we went, because we know this because of our careers. At some point, we said, "What's next? I wonder what's more." And then we went out and did that. And I don't know why that's instilled in some people and not in others, because clearly he was motivated enough to separate himself to be a Green Beret.
Certainly.
So I'm sure if we had enough time to talk to him, we could figure it out. But on the surface, I think it's a tough question. Yeah.
In your time frame, how many men did you know that would say, "I was going to do that," or "I was set to do that," but I, and oh, by the way, or they just intimidated by the whole process?
So many. It's really astounding, the amount. It's not every one of them. There were plenty that were more than happy to be where they were at. But it is, I think, a surprising amount that thought about it, wanted to do it, at one point had plans to do it, just didn't do it. And I've said this before, that even though I did, I wasn't the best guy on my team, much less the best guy in my whole company.
Totally think that about myself as well.
But I made it. But one of the reasons I made it is because I actually went and did it. I think the first part of selection is going.
You can't. What's the lottery thing, right? You can't win if you don't play.
You can't win if you don't play.
And if you can't win if you don't try. I just watched the movie F1 again.
Yeah.
And then one of the last scenes before the last race, we can't win. Javier Bardem says you can't win, and Brad Pitt's character says, "Well, we can't win if we don't try."
Yeah.
So just try. Why not? But I think people are intimidated. They're happy in their space, and that's just the way it is.
Here at the Tier 1 Podcast, we're excited to have Tasty Gains as a sponsor, a company with values that aligns with ours. I take their products every day, 3 times a day. And if it wasn't a product that I didn't take personally and believe in, and a company with integrity, then they wouldn't be sponsors on this show. Creatine helps the body produce more ATP, which is an energy molecule that your entire body runs on. It helps improve your physical and mental performance in all aspects of life. Let's be honest, creatine powder sucks to take every day. With the creatine gummies, you can take them with you anywhere and they taste great. Every batch is third-party tested, so you know you're getting exactly what you pay for. Go to tastygains.com and enter the promo code TIER1, that's TIER, the number 1, and get 20% off your order.
What did that do for you as far as not being challenged and the tanker, it didn't seem like that. Did you sign up to be a career, or were you going to sign up and figure it out?
I signed up for 4 years.
But the mentality, were you like, I'm going to make the Army a career, or that was something that you didn't really, a career didn't cross your mind? You're just going to see what this 4-year contract is.
I think that's probably the latter. Probably, I just went, let's find out what this is like, because after my 4 years was over, I got out.
Okay.
I would tell you also, looking back though, the places you've been and came from, and same with me, in leadership roles, they crush the spirit of young men who don't know exactly what they want. If the leadership was terrible there, it was terrible. It's one of the reasons why I got out. I told stories like this before, that they'd have a formation in the morning, like you're supposed to, accountability formation, PT, go, do your thing. You'd have a formation at noon to come back, or at 1 o'clock rather, to come back. And then you'd have a formation at 5 p.m. if you were working garrison, 1700, whatever it was. And you'd stand around.
Yeah.
You'd just sit around and wait. You'd wait for an hour. And then someone would come out and say PT 06. Everybody already knew that. So why are you wasting everyone's time? Just tell them to go, and then address it later. But
I think I heard someone else say this, and it's so true. They asked him, what's your favorite places? And he said, I don't have any favorite places. I have favorite people. And wherever those favorite people at end up being my favorite places.
Nice.
And I think about that with when you talk about leadership and how people can, it's not the job per se. You can make a bad job so easy to deal with the right people. But and on the flip side of that, you can make the best job in the world a miserable place with bad leadership.
Totally agree.
And culture dictates that. And it's sad, because I'm sure there was a lot of, if you want to call them, we'll just use this word, lazy people that were there that would have done something different had they been challenged. And that time in your service could have been much more impactful to you had they decided to be different. But I also say this: bad leadership impacts people in a greater way than good leadership does.
Yeah, because I think isn't that the same as service? So if you're at a restaurant, bar, or whatever, and you get bad service, so you have to talk about bad service. How many people reach out to the manager and talk about good service? Hey, I want to tell you that Julie was really good, and so I want to tip her even more, but make sure he knows that she was outstanding or whatever, So that's one of the things I tried to do later in my life when I went out. I would tell people that, but
and I think, I don't know if you've thought about this or whether maybe you did, it impact you later on when you're in a leadership level. Like you knew that you never wanted to be like that, because you knew what it was like to be on the receiving end of that. And so it changes you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. When you got out, what'd you do after that?
So I went straight to the National Guard. Did some of that as a tank unit in the 28th Infantry Division. So the legendary Bloody Bucket. Why are they the Bloody Bucket? Because 28th ID out of Pennsylvania lost. They were much more than decimated when they left the Hurricane Forest fighting the Germans after the Battle of the Bulge. So they got crushed. There's a couple of films made about them, but so I worked with them for a while. And in my civilian time frame, I worked as a UPS supervisor, UPS laborer, then supervisor, and a bartender and whatever else.
Classic younger National Guard life. When you get out of the military, the active duty, and you go to the National Guard, and it's like, you're just trying to figuring out
They were terrible.
what's next.
There were some good people in there, but mostly it was just terrible.
They were terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Did it make you realize, even though the active Army wasn't what you thought it could be or should be, did it make you realize how much you did learn there?
100%. And I wanted to come back. I did. I wanted to come back. So especially when the war kicked off, I really wanted to come back. So I worked up in Cleveland for a while. And that's when the war started again in 91.
Okay.
And I was like, was it 90?
I think 91, but yeah, tank heavy war.
Tank stuff, man. Yeah. So I was like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
And at the time too, I was refocusing my whole idea of going back into the Army, which I was working towards.
Okay.
But I was small unit tactics. I was like, this is it. Easy. Everybody can see this. The dirty wars of the Kings, right? Or it's going to be Special Forces, or it's going to be this. So I was planning to go SF.
And you were right eventually, just not for a small piece of that next war.
One of the dudes from my basic training was on a CNN interview, and he was a tank commander. I'm like, I missed it.
Well, I think and I don't want to underestimate what those guys did, because what they did was amazing, you know. But it was, to borrow another term, it was a blitzkrieg. It was a 72-hour. Well, not even. There was no one standing in their way.
But did they call it a 100-hour war?
The 100-hour war.
Yeah,
That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah,
About
the
100 hours.
100-hour war. And I don't know if you remember what really kind of stopped that war. And it was kind of the national, I don't want to say outcry, because I don't think it went to an outcry, but it was very poorly received. I believe they called it the Highway of Death, or the Death Highway.
Oh, really?
Do you remember that?
I do, but I don't remember backlash.
So it was when the Iraqis were all on that one long highway
Trying to escape.
and we just crushed them.
Yep.
And I think it showed the lopsided war that it was, but as it should be. No one should be able to go toe to toe with us. But yeah, that was negatively received, and after that, we basically said, there's not. They're retreating. It looked bad because they were retreating, if you will. But we pulled out shortly after that and said we did what we came to do.
The total war concept changes when regular people see it on television. Sherman drove to the sea with the total war concept. World War II, obviously smashing Japanese homeland and smashing the German war machine, total war concept. But once Vietnam started, we put it on TV, and then you put it on TV in Iraq. But it was limited too. But you're right. I remember seeing the photographs of burned bodies hanging out of their cars or whatever.
Right.
And it makes an impact for sure. So, yeah.
I think it's a tightrope. And I don't know, honestly, which side to be on as a transparent, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, transparent country. I think our citizens should know what their country is up to and what they're doing. But on the same time, what you just said about Vietnam, and you take that instance and what's going on when we go to war. When they see that and they don't have the stomach for, I say that because I can't think of a better word, but they don't have the stomach for what war looks like and what it takes to win a war and what really happens during war. And then their opinions start to sway politicians. Then I start to think, well, maybe you don't need to know what's going on during war. And I don't know the right answer to that.
It is a tightrope, but I certainly don't know the right answer. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think it was the second Gulf War, first Gulf War, or whatever it was. People would be embedded,
right,
and they were allowed to say certain things or allowed to broadcast at certain times. But
I think that's where it goes a little too far with embedded. You get to, especially like live embedded, or when they embed themselves and they send information back within 24, 48 hours, or recently. I think that's where it goes too far. I think you can embed to document it, and tell that story later. But I think that's where Geraldo got put his name out, not necessarily in a good way. I have to look into this because I haven't thought about this in a while. But I actually, if I remember right, I think he gave out information that he wasn't supposed to. But
I honestly don't remember.
But yeah,
he was embedded with 101st. I do remember him saying on occasion how great these men were and all this other stuff. But I don't remember any kind of.
Yeah, and have you ever had anyone embedded with you, or in your time, or any media?
Nope.
We had Oliver North. Come out one time, and he was pretty cool. That was and
kind of fun.
We'll accept him.
He's friendly.
So what made you go back to the military? And of course, you chose something very differently. What was that What was that like?
I was always interested in that anyway. So I get more interested in, like I mentioned, the dirty war stuff. And then more than that, challenging myself. Obviously, to me, the armor time didn't challenge me at all. And I wanted to be better. I saw I don't know, it was a philosopher's thing. If you can see if you can see yourself completing the task, then you're already halfway there. So I saw myself wearing a green beret. I'm going to go do this. Long story short, of course, it didn't work out that way, but I did get a Ranger contract and made my way that way.
Oh, that's right. You went to 19th Group for a little bit out of West Virginia.
Flash in the pan.
Yeah.
Met some great people there. It was a good pathway, I thought. There was a bear program thing, and I was kind of trying to hope for that because, to your point earlier, I was in E6, and then I wasn't.
That's right. So at this point in your career, you're in E6 for the first time.
Yeah.
All right. You kind of dabble into SF, but through the National Guard.
Yep.
But you decide, no, I want to go back to active duty, and you go to Ranger Regiment. You go to Ranger Regiment right off the bat through a contract.
So I said, can I get back in the Ranger Regiment? And they were saying, sure, you can. You can be a cook or a chaplain's assistant. I didn't want that. So I had to wait a little bit longer. Then I got a 11 series. So I jumped in as 11, and I thought I could make my way.
Okay.
There was a lot of what ifs. One of the what ifs was at the 30th AG. That's the, what do you call that? The Human Supply Depot at Fort Benning.
Right.
Waiting for your assignments. I see on a piece of paper that I'm 11 Mike. And I'm like, this is mechanized, right? And I asked this other sergeant there, and he says, yeah. And I said, I don't know if you can help me or not, but I've been there before. I don't want to be mechanized. I honestly want a Ranger contract if I can get it. And then next thing you know, he helped me out. He took me downstairs, a couple E7s down there, re-enlisted me. And guy said, hey, you got to re-enlist for 6 more years or something else. I said, this is my second time through. I'm all in.
Okay.
So I got the Ranger deal. So,
did you know when you re-enlisted that they were going to bump you down to E4?
That's a good question. I don't know if I remember anybody telling me that, but
because that is a big, that is a big jump. We're not just talking about a new buck sergeant. I mean, staff sergeants, especially in the infantry, you're getting to be someone. Like you got some rank, and then to get busted down to special. But it doesn't seem like, if you don't remember, it doesn't seem like it was must have been that big of a deal.
Somebody just said, hey, look, you're going back in, you're going to be an E4. I'm like, well, that's a bummer.
That's a bummer.
I think it was the recruiter. I think you've been gone for this many months long that cut you down to this.
But it seems like job was more important to you than rank.
100%.
Yeah.
This is my new born again career. I'm not stopping here.
So those E7s get you a chance to go Ranger.
Yep.
And you had to go back through basic training?
Basic training.
Did you go back to the whole thing?
So I was convinced I was going to do the whole thing.
Okay.
And so right away, I was, until they make this decision. Somebody comes up and says, hey, you were already a soldier. You don't have to go through the whole thing.
Okay.
He said, you should just go to AIT. But they couldn't find my basic rifleman, basic marksmanship stuff. So they're like, well, guess what? You got to go through basic and advanced rifle marksmanship in a basic training unit. So they inserted me into a real, turtle wearing, marching around basic training unit, which actually is hilarious. I had some really funny stories out of there. But I swum through it and got to AIT, and the AIT changed everything because there was 14 or 15 of us that were changing MOSs, and we had our own bay and stuff, and it was totally different.
Yeah, let's go back to basic training just for a second.
Sure.
That's so foreign.
Pardon me.
Oh, you go. That's so foreign to me that you get inserted in like just for that time period. And how do drill sergeants treat you like a prior service, or do they treat you like you're a basic training worm?
So as you know, each company probably has, each platoon has two. Right?
Usually two. Yeah.
I had sergeant first class, and I had a staff sergeant. The sergeant first class completely treated me like a soldier.
Okay.
The staff sergeant, completely the opposite. I wondered if they sat around and talked about it. But you see, the one guy was a tyrant. The other guy was the other guy would brief. I don't know, it was something. Maybe we did AR we did M16 takedowns or something, and he would say, "Hey, Moyer here, he's a prior soldier, so he'll help you out on these things," and blah blah. He knows what he's doing. The other guy would be like, you can't do that to your cover. He'd rip off my hat, make it straight, and stomp on it and give it back to me. It was, dude. We had this drill at nighttime where you stood beside your locker was on the left side, your bed was on the right side. At least for me, it was. And they would say, "Prepare to mount," and you'd have to put your hands on the bunk.
Okay.
Check your locker, and then you have to turn around and go. You have to tickle your locker and make a noise. Chicka, chicka, chicka,
Okay.
chicka, because the lock was locked.
Okay.
Prepare to mount. Check your locker. Dude, this went on. I mean, are you kidding me, bro?
doing?
And so I was 27 years old. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm in. I'll do it. So
Right.
but yeah, the other guy was horrible. One guy was great, and I just swum through it. Got done with it.
Yeah. Then you go to your AIT for infantry.
Yeah, and that was easy to me.
Okay.
The cadre was great, and they asked us to help out numerous times. There was at least one 18 X-ray pipeline guy in there that went from a commo MOS to had to transfer over to infantry, and then we went to airborne, and it went to RIP, and then on it goes.
Let's hop into RIP because I'm gonna go on a ledge here, but I feel like it's a safe assumption. That's kind of the first time in your military career, and even though you had National Guard time and active duty time, but you've had some time underneath your belt that you're challenged.
It was a challenge
because I know RIP in the '80s was challenging.
Was. Well, this was the '90s.
Well, '90s, right? Yep, the '90s at this point. Well, guess what? It was. I wasn't wrong. It was challenging in the '80s too. But now that we're in the '90s, Was it what you expected? Was it what you wanted? Like, what was like when you got into that environment? How did you feel?
I really liked it.
Yeah,
I did. I liked it a lot, and I was put in a leadership position. I was actually the honor grad from my RIP. I was an E4 already. I had some leadership time under my belt. I had some real world time under my belt. I know what it was like to be a soldier, not a ranger. So it worked out. And not to gloss over airborne, but I was honor grad there too, by the way. So I was on some strange like pathway, right? I got enlisted honor grad in airborne, then I got honor grad in RIP, and I went to 175. And I was thinking, I got my stuff together. And I
just want you to be aware. If you say you're honor grad or something, you better be, because I've checked people's stories before.
you can see, I've heard that. Yeah, I don't know. That's funny. You can check them. Yeah,
I'll take my bottle back.
I have a plaque. I have 2 plaques actually. That's funny as hell.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because we all know what I'm about to say. Because especially when you go to whether it be SF, Ranger, these are volunteer units. So if someone's there, it's because they want to be there. So they knew what they were signing up for to some degree, but you get 2 different type of people. The people who wanted this, and when they found out how hard it was, how real it was, how physical it was, how rude it is, they decide, actually, I don't want this. And there's a whole other set of people that think they want this, and then when they get it, they're like, yeah, they can't get enough of it. Like they just thrive in it.
I really liked it. I liked leading the men. I really did.
Yeah.
I had a great time doing it.
And that's true at those volunteer units, and that's true at war too. There's people who wanted war, and you got 2 different outcomes as well from men in war,
for sure.
But you don't know until, and that's not a judgment of sorts, because you don't know until you get there.
That's right.
But you got there and you loved it.
Worked okay.
Yeah,
worked out for me.
Your specialist going in. So correct. You go to your first team. What battalion did you go to?
175.
175.
Savannah.
It's a good place to be.
It's a good place.
It's not the Army isn't known for putting its bases in very good places.
Tiny base too.
Yeah.
Hunter Army Airfield,
Right.
right next to an ancient city and a river and a beach. Yeah. It's a Navy SEAL thing.
Did you get to do the St. Patty's Day parade while you were there?
I did indeed.
I'm assuming you didn't know about it until you got there.
No, didn't know about it.
Tell people about the St. Patty's Day parade and 175.
It's a spectacle. And, it's awesome. It really is awesome. It's a pain in the butt because the battalion is going to march through the streets. So there you go. That's a pain in the butt. So the battalion is going to make you march as an element, and it's going to make you march as an element with a rifle and a bayonet, and it's going to make you starch and spit your boots and your clothing, and you got to be perfect. It's really in the end, it's a cool thing, but it's also a pain in the ass, right? Okay. Everybody knows it. Would you rather be doing close quarter battle or marksmanship training? You bet. So, but it is a tradition there, and it's pretty cool. And it's a legacy thing. So after you're done getting punished with that, you line up. You're downtown. You line up down by Forsyth Park, and then you start hearing the really good stuff. You kill babies. You guys suck. You kill babies.
Really?
You're standing parade rest. Yeah. Right? You're standing parade rest. You're not doing anything. And you hear these libs walk up and down, just hacking at you the whole time. But then when you're marching through and you're singing and someone's calling cadence and you're singing and you go around that corner and it's kind of quiet. And then you hear this woman say, "We love you, boys." And it's just like raw. And then you hear all the other people just start yelling and screaming. And you're like, man, it's hard not to just beam with pride. When just the other day when Chase Hawk hit Maduro, and I told my girls, I said, "Is it wrong with me? I'm standing in front of the TV, just beaming inside, because this is the legacy I came from." It's just so cool. But yeah, so then that's part of the parade. Once you're on Broad Street, not River, but you're on top of Broad Street, I think it is, right? It's Bay Street. Sorry, Bay Street. The girls, I don't know who they are and what they do, but they go out there and they put a large amount of lipstick on, and then they'll run out and grab the smallest, youngest Ranger that's on the outside of the formation and kiss the crap out of him. And he's walking around, right? And he's got all this red lipstick on. Yeah. I've seen it over and over again. I never got attacked. I was glad of that. Thank you very much. But it's a thing that they do. But it's really cool. And then one of the years I didn't do it. Why didn't I do it? I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I remember watching an interview of a man who came from, I don't know, Chicago or something. He came from somewhere else, 1,000 miles away. And the interviewer said, "Why'd you come here?" And he said, "I come here to see the Rangers." And I'm like,
love it.
That was great. I'm like, as a young man, that's amazing. So,
and this is the era of high and tights and black berets.
High and tights, black berets, spit shine boots. Yeah. I mean, what do they wear now? They wear the brown boots.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now they're at the tan boots and the tan berets. I know that was emotional for the Ranger, as it should have been. Actually, but that's we actually talked about that before. But that's a subject for another time. But
quick story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wasn't there. Some of my I didn't know them yet. New friends were in Bosnia doing a thing, and Shinseki had already changed all the Army personnel to go to a black beret.
Yep. And
there was apparently they got some pipe hitters in the car going to go do their thing. And you see in front of their car, someone moving from left to right is in a BDUs and a black beret, and it's a female who's pregnant. And somebody said, "That's a Ranger right there." And so that's how that went. So anyway,
that was, it's funny, how time just nulls thing. It was such an emotional thing back then. I'm sure it was a little bit before my time, but I've talked to many people that were there during it, and now it's just normal. And I'd almost say the Rangers won out because the tambourines are great.
Tambourines cool, super cool.
But no one likes change. Nobody likes change.
And it's during the time frame, it was the rumors were also they're going to take away their PT uniform. You won't be able to wear them anymore. It can only be Army uniform. It was other things like that they were just scared to be. It wasn't not necessarily changed, but they were going to be taken away from them.
Yeah,
that was the big thing.
And I don't like that either. I do. Special units deserve certain special things. It's one of my first team sergeants, Sean Keene, used to call it SF candy. He was like, "Get to wear that baseball cap every now and again. You earned it. It's a little bit of SF candy. You get to wear these PTs. That's some SF candy for you.
I dig it.
You separate yourself. I do believe you deserve a little bit more.
You earned it.
You earned it. Absolutely. When you get to your team, tell us about the squad. The beginning of Ranger Regiment life for you.
First squad was where I was first assigned. Excuse me again. Before I was assigned that squad, I think I was probably assigned it anyway, but they were smoking us in the hallway. And, their protocol was to ask Ranger history questions while you were counting the tiles on the roof or doing starbursts or whatever. And I was answering all the questions correctly. And some sergeant pulls me out of the room and says, how do you know all those questions? That's your what's Forrest Gump? Your Forrest Gump moment. I'm like, because they told me to. I love history, so I just ate it up, right?
All right.
And then that's when they found out that I was a prior service E4.
Okay.
So I wasn't an import. I did the whole pipeline, so not as an import, but first squad was great. And then I went straight into a machine gun team position. We went to Fort Benning for a dog and pony show for then Secretary of Defense Togo West. I think that was a Bill Clinton administration. I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
And Sergeant Paul Johnson walks into this old World War II barracks where we were staying, and he's got a Mag 58. The old school 240 has the wooden stock on it and everything. Yeah. And he goes, "Who knows anything about this?" Well, I do. Because there was a coaxially mounted machine gun on the tank.
Right.
It just didn't have a stock. I said, "That's 240. I know all about it." He said, "Give me a class." Roger that, Sergeant. So I give him a class. He goes, "You are now a machine gun team leader." So I'm pretty sure I'm correct. I was the first Ranger to shoot a 240 in the regiment. And it was at this thing because they just brought it up. Said, "Hey, this is new." So that was cool. I love the 240. I became a 240 machine gun team leader for a while. So
how long did it take you to get to Ranger school?
I went to the class that was tragically where we lost, 3 guys in the school. Do you remember this incident?
Was that a winter class?
It was a winter class.
Where they essentially froze to death after a river crossing and wet and hypothermia?
Yep, in Florida.
You're right.
But what year was that?
I couldn't tell you.
I want to say 94, 95. Do you know?
It's okay. It's not a trivia show. You can just
somebody else is going to say it. Somebody out there is going to call it off.
That's the listeners will Google it.
Yeah, the comment section will let you know.
But I wasn't honor grad. I was not honor grad at my Ranger school. Somebody else was somewhere down the road.
I feel like you say that now because I put the fear of God in you.
But I went before that and I failed. Not school. I went to pre-Ranger and failed. I went to pre-Ranger and I failed the swim test because it was, 9 degrees and I couldn't swim worth a shit anyway. And the second time I had a heat stroke on the 5-mile run that turned into a 6-mile run because we had to go pick up stragglers. And so I didn't make it from there. So I finally made it my third time. So
okay.
So I don't know what year. I don't know when they asked me to go the first time. I can't remember. 94, 95, and then I made it in 95 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think people underestimate. I feel like partly do because just no sane person normally jumps into freezing cold water. It's just not something you do as a civilian. Why would I?
Oh,
but the first submersion will completely disorient you and take your breath completely away, and it takes a good 10, 15, maybe even 20 seconds to kind of settle into it. And if you're not a strong swimmer to begin with, you don't have a chance.
I wasn't a strong swimmer. There's a funny story later we can talk about too, about the whole swim test. But
If you've ever been to any of my tactical training classes, then you know how adamant I am about the use of white light and the importance of a quality, high-powered tactical light. That's why I use Cloud Defensive Tac Lights. You can't hit what you can't see, and neither can the bad guys. Clearly identify your target and simultaneously overwhelm his vision with hundreds and even thousands of lumens. Get serious about defending yourself and your family. Go to clouddefensive.com and use promo code TIER1 to get 30% off your order. That's right, 30%. You won't find a better light than this, and you won't find a better deal than this.
There would have been a swim test in RIP, correct, or not at that time?
No,
Really?
no, there wasn't.
Okay. Then and
Could
what
have been.
did you know there was a swim test, or is it just one of those things like you're like, I know I'm not a strong swimmer, I'll just do it when I have to, or it's just
Man, I'm thinking back now. Maybe there was one in RIP, and I got through it because it was
you just got through it. Yeah.
That's a great question. I wish I could remember that, but I knew there was one. I was busy doing other things.
Yeah.
Wrong. Mistake. Once I failed it, I went back and I got a rubber duck and I put boots on and I swam it over and over and over and over again until I got it right. So
That's
which dovetails into another story later.
But that's what I love about that story. I mean, we say it all the time. It's not that you failed. I failed at things in my military career. In fact, selection at the unit was the first thing in my life, or my military life, that I failed at. I'd crushed everything up until then. I wasn't really challenged up until then, and when I failed that, it flipped a switch. I just came back a man possessed, and was like, no, this. I also felt like it wasn't bigger than me. So like I felt like, it's one thing when you just get absolutely crushed by something and you're like, well, that's just not in the cards. But there's an inkling of hope there that made me go back and say, that's on you. You could have been better.
What'd you do first, summer or winter? Or sorry, fall or spring?
Fall.
Okay, I did spring first and failed.
But I love the fact, even at a I wouldn't say a young age, but I'd say young in your career, that you met failure, but it's how you met failure and your response to failure. And you're like, well, then I will get a rubber duck, and I will make this right.
I had to. There's no way. I couldn't stay here.
Yeah,
I couldn't stay in the regiment without being a graduate of Ranger School anyway. So
right, which goes into another funny story of when you went to Ranger School. You went at a peculiar rank, did you not? A peculiar rank within the regiment.
It's not peculiar rank.
Yeah.
There's plenty of sergeants in the regiment.
Yes, they are. But
what you're referring to is that I was promoted to an E5. So as a leadership position inside the Ranger Regiment, before having a Ranger tab, I was promoted to 5.
I've never heard of that.
That's what I was told. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't know if it's ever happened since me or not. I have no idea.
Right. And part of that has to do with you. Explain how it happened.
Sure. So on your avenue of approach here, I think it happened because I was older, and it happened because I had time in service. Yeah. And then, like I said, I went earlier and I screwed those times up. And all of a sudden my clock was running, and my platoon sergeant says, look, we got to hire this guy. We got to make him an E5. So before he goes to Ranger School, I wonder how much risk he took. I don't know. But John Spizzo, God bless him, which, by the way, is from a leadership perspective, he was a very good leader to me in 2nd Platoon 175. And then, so I get promoted. Nobody wants to shake my hand. I don't blame them. I didn't want it. I didn't want to be that guy. But long story short, I get promoted. We ended up going to Haiti. So when was that? December of 44. It was December of 94, right? Haiti. So we went to Haiti. I'm a line team leader for some time before I get a chance to go back to Ranger School again. And so we're on the USS America doing our thing, getting ready to invade Haiti. It didn't work out so well, politics and all. But then came back from the Haiti deployment, successful, and then finally went to Ranger School. So, you want to go further to Dahlonega?
Actually, we'll. I got a random question that I've never really thought of until this exact moment. And of course, I'm asking you to look into a crystal ball. How different do you think Haiti would be had we done that? You think that'd have given them their chance?
Dude, that's a great question. That's a great question. Yeah. Aren't they one of the great welfare countries that we spend shit tons of money on?
Yeah,
they go nowhere.
And I'm sure a lot of people do know this, but there are people out there that don't know this. Yes, that is true, but it doesn't have to be that way. The Dominican Republic's on the same island that Haiti is, and the DR is doing just fine. I mean, you could argue that, but you can't argue that they're not doing much better than Haiti. And Haiti at one point was the number one supplier of the world in coffee and coffee beans.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it was.
You know that because you're a coffee guy?
I do. That is actually why I know that.
How about Yemen?
But it's
back in the day, Yemen was a big coffee supplier.
It's and now their biggest export is
you see that
is terrorism. But yeah, it's there's so much potential in Haiti, but they just can't get it together. And as always, you can't outspend this problem. Doesn't matter how much aid we give them. You can't outspend the homelessness problem. California is a great example of that. But I do believe at some point when something gets so dire, you do have to step in. And I know that's another subject. Should we be the world's police? But at some point, when there's an overwhelmingly amount of bad people over good people, and the good people really don't have a voice or a possibility, then someone does have to step in. Of course, that's the question. When, why us? Should it be us? But just I forget that until you said that we almost did it in the 90s.
So some podcast outfits, somebody's on a computer doing research. Does Drew do that?
Drew is capable of doing that.
So Drew, is it possible to find out what's the main religion in the Dominican Republic? And juxtapose that with what's the main religion in Haiti?
I know this through work with the Sentinel, and I tell you, this has surprised me in the times I've been there. Of course, I don't go all over Haiti because you can't. But it was very surprising to me the amount of Christians in Haiti. But then again, of course, that's why I'm there. Those are the people, the good people working with orphanages, working with the needy, working with kids. But I was surprised the amount of Christians in Haiti. But I'm sure they're not the majority.
In both countries, it's Roman Catholicism.
Both.
Yep.
Majority.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what else is prevalent in Haiti? I'm just trying to find out what's really different.
Well, I know there's a lot of witchcraft.
Yeah, there's a lot of witchcraft.
That's what I was thinking of, bro. That's what I was going with.
That is
animism. Yeah.
And what else? What's not Santeria? Is that it? Santeria? I don't know. Whatever. The voodoo shit. Though.
Yeah, the voodoo.
But to get back on track, you come back. We're
talking about voodoo.
We're talking about voodoo.
Oh no. You lay down.
You come back from Haiti. That's when you said you get to go to Ranger School, but you go to Ranger School as an E5.
Yep. No,
just telling you, it's just people within the community will know what a crazy story that just was.
Yeah,
it's just unheard of.
So E5, I'm doing great. Things are going out. Things are working out well. Right. Bending was fine. It's a winter class. It's very cold. Bending was cold. And we had a desert portion, so we went out to.
Oh, that's right.
We had desert portion still. That was very cold. I was in charge of the group there. There was a bunch of chow thieves there. I was able to be in charge of my group of people, whatever. But then the mountains, and it was snowing its head off in the mountains most of the time. And I'm going on a patrol, and one of the RIs looks at me. And he starts assuming I'm somebody because back then we wore. Can I help you? You feel like you've been left out? You got some FOMO? Off a leg in, please. Go
So,
show,
Dad, you can talk and throw the ball at the same time.
Yeah. The ball's not over here. It's over there. So, So back then we wore BDUs and we had fabric rank instead of this stupid rank we have now here.
Yep.
And on the collars, and of course, everyone in Ranger School, it's a no rank school. Everybody's the same, supposedly. And those fabric squares are different shaped for private and private first class than they are for sergeant. And specialist even is different. The sergeant is larger, and so it makes a much more prominent square on my collar. And this RI in Dahlonega is looking at me and he goes, "Oh, you're a medic." No, Sergeant. He goes, "Oh, you're a common guy." "No, Sergeant." And then you can just see his face immediately, right? He ramps up and goes, "Oh, you're the one." So I'm like, holy crap, I've been spotted, right? It's over for me. Right. I swam through it. It would come out through okay. But it was a funny moment. Later on, it was funny. It wasn't funny right then because now he knows I'm this weird anomaly that came out of 175.
Yeah, and he can see the scroll stitching that was left on your uniform.
Probably could, yeah. I'm sure he could. Actually, that's probably why he said all that.
Yeah, it's such an anomaly. But you come back and now all is right. You graduate, and now you're a tabbed sergeant back in Ranger Regiment. How much longer did you stay in Ranger Regiment after that?
I got my 6.
And the second time?
In 99, the second time. And I got, does that make it a 12? No.
Yes. we need to add up all your promotions to get your actual rank.
And then, in 99, I decided to go do my thing.
So what was it that made you want to go to the unit from Ranger Regiment at that time? What was the decision point?
Well, you see while you're there, you see other men do it. And there's a mystique for sure. But in the end, like we talked about, whether we talked about it earlier or we talked about it offline, there's these men that want to test their mettle. And I wanted to test my mettle. I wanted to see, it looked like it's a natural progression.
Yeah.
And it looked like that was clearly a natural progression to me, much to the dismay of some of the command, which is funny, right? People think you're abandoning them. You'll get that whole impression, or you're just quitting, you're abandoning us. So I saw it as my next chance to do something else. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems as if that mentality has come and gone throughout the years with Ranger Regiment, supporting guys going to the unit or not, and I've never understood it. Why you would ever want to keep someone from serving this country in the absolutely best way they could,
the highest capacity you can.
Right.
And it is interesting. I remember I failed. Like I said, I failed in spring, and my exit interview was General Miller. Wasn't General Miller then, and he asked me right away, "What's the climate of the command? Were they supportive in you doing this?" And to a degree, my company commander was very supportive, Chris Vanek. But senior command, not really happy. And other people will just think that you're just quitting on them.
Yeah. Was there any fallout to you coming back as a non-select? They take away your squad, or I hear those stories.
Well, my company commander thought I was going to be successful, so he hired somebody else and put them in my spot. And I went somewhere else. So I went to, I did a small stint as the headquarters platoon sergeant. So,
okay. How long did it take you to go back?
I went back the next session. Was that 6 months?
Yeah. Nice.
Went right back, yeah. And then just like the swimming thing, or just like you mentioned, whatever it is, you're just going to hammer until you get it right. I think I was too tired the first time. Mm-hmm. And I got smarter, and I was more patient the second time. Okay. And so I trained, but I didn't train super hard. I just trained enough. Mike Hall used to say, look, as a Ranger, you're training probably as much as you need to. You're doing a road march every Thursday, 12 miles. You're doing this, you're doing that. And I took it back to heart, and I said, well, maybe I went too far. And most of the time, what I made was navigational mistakes anyway. So
okay. What was the impression that, if any, that selection had on you?
Amazing course, professional, I learned a crap ton. You learn a lot about yourself. It's super professional. And certainly to me right now, that one of the hardest, if not the hardest physical thing I've ever done. I think harder when you see a good friend of yours being buried, hard when you have somebody between your legs and you're intubating him and you think he's going to die. The hardest physical thing I did was selection. So,
would you say that what especially after going through the first time and failing, when it came out that you were selected, what'd that feel like? Who'd you call?
A giant weight over. That's a great question. I don't remember calling anybody. I really don't.
Yeah. Did you sit there at some point and almost feel like it wasn't real? Because I don't think people realize once you're in the military and once you're within special operations, you already hinted at it. It's this mythical place almost. It's this place that exists, but it's so distant. It's not a place you're allowed to talk to. It's not a place you're allowed to go. It's where friends leave and they're never heard from again.
Yeah,
it almost doesn't feel real to be a part of it.
And earlier you mentioned I don't know exactly what question it was, but I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
I didn't know anything about it. The psych is asking me, hey, what about this one? I don't know. I don't know. I was doing Ranger stuff. I never really studied this at all. I don't even know. And then, like you say, this mystical thing, when you're on a task and you have to go a certain distance. And then when you're at the end of it, which you don't know, it's the end.
Right.
And then when it's the end, I can almost feel it right now. When I get up there and he says, congratulations, you finished this portion. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And, go over here and, hey, how are you? Yeah. And everything's changed now. So
I don't care how much is out there already. If it's out there and you guys can figure it out, then you can. But there's, obviously like any selection, there's the end of the physical events. And just like you're talking about, I remember thinking at what I believed to be the end of the physical events, sitting there and saying, regardless of whatever happens after this, they can't take this away from me. I physically completed the hardest course in the military.
I totally agree with you there. Yeah.
And no, I said that to myself, which ended up being a lie just several hours later, because because that happiness went away. I was like, no, I won't truly be happy unless I see this thing through. but that was still true to some degree.
Oh yeah, I was
just completing it was just to sit down and being like, I did this. It's just got to be a.
Oh, it's still emotional to me, without a doubt. I'm like, are you kidding me? I can see it. It's Army SEER School, CRC. That was, being beaten down and thinking that you're going to get rescued, and then you turn around and when they say, you can't. What was they saying to me? They're saying to everybody. They're saying you can't treat our flag like this. You can't treat our flag like this. You turn around and respect our flag. And you turn around, right? And there's all these people to watch you graduate. And there's the American flag. And they immediately started doing the national anthem. And you're like, you get all soupy right away. I'm like, gosh, man,
I cried.
So yeah, big time. I'm getting emotional right now. So it's that kind of thing. You did that and you finished that. It was a lot of inner.
Yeah.
It was. I was exhausted, of course. I was relieved. Again, certainly the hardest thing I've ever done. Very satisfying.
This is cool for me and you to get to talk about because we experienced something that's so similar. So when you say this, it's not very often I get to listen to a guest and truly go, I know exactly what you felt like and what you experienced, because I also failed my first selection. And then you have this, this buildup of having to go back, and then all the nights when other guys are going out that you decide to, stay home and train for this one last chance at this dream. Then you go back there, and it already beat you once, and you get this monkey off your back by saying like all the sacrifice I made, all the naysayers, my own naysayer, inside of me, that you have to beat down every day and say like, no, we're stistill going out because you got this.
That's cool.
And to sit down when it's all said and done and be like, I did that. It's just like I said, and you're mentally exhausted, you're physically exhausted. You gave it everything. It's just a euphoric feeling. In fact, I haven't really thought about, for whatever reason, I have not thought about that until you just brought that up.
To me, it was.
And I can't stop smiling thinking about
it.
Right.
How you finish a marathon or whatever it is you do, you just get, you're like, gosh, man, this portion is over. Yeah. And immediately everybody is different. Everything is different.
And so few men in this world will ever see what we earned, and also it's also true what we earned and what we were lucky enough to see.
Very fortunate.
There's some luck involved.
Certainly earned, without a doubt earned.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very fortunate. And then you look back at this. My girl and I just saw this thing. It was like a 5-minute businessman guy saying, everything in your life that happens to you is your responsibility. Everything. Yeah. And he said, his example was, but wait, I was going through an intersection with a green light and I got T-boned by a guy in a red light. Still your responsibility. You put yourself in that car. You put yourself down that road. You didn't look to the right, or you didn't stop, and all these things are really your responsibility. So to think about that, the opportunities and the opportunities I've had after succeeding there, the opportunities and places I went and things I did were absolutely amazing. And I just, the best part of my life was all through that time frame. So
right, but at the end of the day, what you just accomplished, which is true. So few men have, but even that, you'll sit there, you'll rest on your laurels for just a little bit, but it's far from over. Now you just get an opportunity to see what's the other side of the fence.
Totally agree with that too.
But you've just earned a right to see the other side, and you earned that. But it's far from over, as we both experienced. Yeah. Not everyone that gets the opportunity to go over there gets to continue to work there and be assigned there, if you will.
But to be assigned there too to me, in the most important position, your position, my position was the most important position in that organization. The whole rest of the organization is built upon that. So
that is what I loved about that. It really is. I think there's very few places, and really, especially in the military. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I've said it before, and I stand by it, because it can be taken to an extreme that's not meant. But that place revolves around the operator. The operator is the rock star. The building is only there to support them. But really, that's true in shouldn't say every, but every line company. The infantry man is the main effort within an infantry company, but it doesn't get treated like that. And we get told, hey, the support personnel are just as important as you. And this is where it kind of becomes hard to verbalize, because even though I believe that's not true, people take that and then they kind of run with it and they go, oh, so you think support people are beneath you? Nope. In fact, I don't think, I would like to believe no one treated support people as good as I did. I loved them.
Yes.
And if you don't treat them well, you can't do your job without them. But let's make no mistake about it. When bullets fly and a hill has to be charged or a high value target has to be taken, they're not the ones that have to put their life on the line, and there has to be some sort of recognition for that.
It's the grunt, it's the doughboy, it's the 82nd Airborne guy, it's the 101st Airborne guy, it's the 3rd ID kid, and it's the 4th ID guy.
Absolutely.
To win, you have to take and hold ground.
Yep.
Well, you're not taking and holding ground with a cook. Okay, he's just not.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I love my cooks, baby. You're exactly right about the support personnel. The thing doesn't work without it. Going back to the F1 movie again. Why? Because I just saw it again. But one of the guys is Jackman. He goes, I was a 5-time, the team principal for the team says I'm a 5-time world champion with Ferrari as a rear Jackman. And, Brad Pitt's character says, my pop was too. You can't win without him. And so they're not the driver, but you can't win without these other pieces. Right. But yeah, you can't take and hold ground without the infantryman. That's why they get a little, what'd you call it before? Flare? Not flare. What'd you call it? You can wear a ball cap today. That's
little SF candy.
Candy. Little flare, little candy.
Yeah. And when it came to support personnel, the support guys that I loved the most are the ones who love their job. And what I mean by that is everyone's had the support guy that's like, hey, they wanted to go shooting with you, and they wanted to go to shoot long guns with you or do things that weren't their job. And usually the ones that really wanted to do that weren't very good at their jobs. And so it made it difficult to want to bring them. But in fact, we had a cook. It's a perfect example. We had a cook who just loved being a cook. Never asked to come to the range. You know who I asked if he wanted to go to the range? The cook. Who never asked. Now I want to take you to the range. It's just how life works. The guys that are really good at their job, that's actually when you get the invite, and we want you to be here. But guess what? He's only going to be there long enough to enjoy it, and he's a master of his craft, and he's got to get back to it. Just really, and you said it before. The operator there is the rock star, but just everyone there just lives to do their job.
The vast majority, I think we talked about this offline, right? The vast majority of people that work in that building really want to be there. Yeah. And they want to make a difference, and they want to be masters at their craft, no matter what that craft is. With every organization, there's problems. And because, guess what? We're humans, we're fallible, but yeah, how do you explain it? I'd say the greatest place I've ever been professionally, the best professional times I've ever had in my life have been in that building.
There's only one downside to it, and that it's ruined me. Any place I will ever work at or with after that, I have to look at through a different lens and hold to a different standard, because I've never been a part of an organization like that before, and I never will again.
You're jaded.
You're jaded. Sure. There's just no way to get a group of people like that
and it's hard,
together again.
It's hard on your personal life. It's very hard. It's very difficult, and I applaud the men that do it. It's very difficult to stay even keel throughout both of those circles of life. I wasn't good at it, so
that's a whole another subject. Let's talk about it, because it's true. Once you get brought up to a certain standard, that is now a standard in your life, and that standard does bleed over and into other things, and it's hard to expect, if not demand, out of other people, including yourself, perfection, or at least or excellence. You're striving for excellence, and then go home or go have to interact with other people who cannot meet that standard, and then change gears in and out of work.
Yeah, but for me though too, right?
Some people can do it, but I think it changes you to some degree. It changes you.
No, it does. The whole thing changes you. Your exposure, your operational tempo exposes you to change, and you're losing mates to change, and the high stress environment changes. The potential for TBI, the constant explosions you're around, whether it's training breaching, real life breaching, subterranean breaching is the worst, or even now as a shooting instructor, I see it all the time now. Standing next to someone who's just shooting a regular Glock. You can feel it hitting you just feel it, right? Yeah. Chris Free talks about that in the Operator Syndrome book. But for when you expect excellence, like you said, I want to go back to that, because I wasn't excellent. You know what I mean? I was excellent at a couple things, but I wasn't excellent at doing like the regular normie life thing that I should have tried to be better at, but I wasn't. So I just wasn't.
Do you think it? What do you think it does? It's a personal question, but what do you think it does to your marriage?
No, definitely it punishes it. It really puts a really
that's a good way to describe it.
It puts a really high stress on it for sure. Marriage in itself is not easy anyway. Relationships aren't easy to keep. I'm in a relationship right now. I want to really keep. I think she's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. But to be, that covenant that you go into with your wife, and it's difficult in that realm. It's really difficult in that realm. If you want to do really well. Yeah. So there's a battle. I think that men are under a little bit more stress than women. I could be wrong. By all means, tell me I am. But there's a like a ladder of protector. You want to be protector, provider, the expert, the one to go to. You want all that on you. I want that on my shoulders. I want the ball. I want the puck. I want the ball. I want the bat, whatever it might be, whatever sport you're in. But gosh, man, it's that life, especially when you deploy constantly. That was the most trying times. In the beginning, I don't think it was that hard. And later on, it got much harder.
I actually think I can describe it maybe in a better way, and again, I think it's personality dependent.
Obviously.
For me, I think one of the things that became very hard to navigate and manage was of sorts of a lack of sympathy, because in the jobs we were doing at the time, not to be dramatic about it, but it's just true. Everything was life or death. Everything was life or death. The daily training we were doing to the next deployment that was just right around the corner to, we'll call it a surprise deployment. And you just got used to dealing with very high risk environments. And then to go home and I'm just being honest, here, and hear about a problem at home and go, that's not a problem. That's just, I wouldn't say that, but that's.
You wouldn't?
Well,
I probably did.
I might have said it.
I probably did.
I might have said it.
One of the things that I said, and I will say on occasion still, is it's all right. No one's shooting at you.
Yeah.
And is that callous? Like you said, is that a lack of sympathy, empathy, callous?
Right.
Probably all the above.
Right. Because everything's subjective. And I look back and I go, well, I mean, just because it was a problem to her, and in my poor attempt to bring things down, it had the opposite effect, because I had no sympathy, and I think she just wanted to be heard, and she just wanted to be helped. But I was trying to let her know, like, hey, well, you're making this a bigger deal than it is. It's actually not that big of a deal. When I think I could have done a better job of stepping back and just kind of trying to understand this was a big deal. But I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just saying that it's just true. In the reality of the time, it was really hard for anything to be a big deal to me, because it would have to be a very, very big deal because of what we were used to in our everyday lives.
I like what you said just a minute ago about you have to put let me see if I can say this correctly. It's really important to try to put your partner's shoes on. Yeah. It really is. And it's even now, I didn't do it. I try to fix it. So well, hopefully it's fixed, but selection's an ongoing process, right?
That's
well,
right.
Guess what? This is an ongoing thing, man. And I'll tell you right now too, my faith journey, wasn't very good, during the GWAT. I got much better later, and it's even stronger now. But my faith journey with Christ is much more powerful now than it ever used to be, and that's another thing. So
that's something I think we're going to talk about later, because it's actually a good segue again to something I want to talk about, which I haven't told you this yet, but I feel like to some degree, or you should know, but you were the generation right before me. and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan because you and the men you worked with at that time were the surge generation. And I'd like to think you guys have to know this, but like you guys were, especially when I got, into the unit, like you guys were put up on a pedestal for the things you guys did during the surge.
There's a lot of cool stories from there, that's for sure.
It was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable what the smallest unit in the military did to have strategic and national effects in a war that wasn't perceived as going well at the time.
Who started that surge? It wasn't Abizaid, right? Was it Abizaid?
I can't remember. I did surge. I surged as an SF guy, but for us to get busier, which you only know what you know. It seemed really busy for us, and then you go across the hall and you realize what the surge meant to you guys, and you're like, oh, we weren't busy. Those boys were busy.
Were you in a CRIF?
No, I was just on a line ODA, a dive team.
That could be all right. So different pressures are here and there, perspectives wise. But your deployments may have been longer, right? Traditionally, they are longer, right?
Yeah, they're 6 months.
Okay, ours weren't.
Right.
But our operational tempo.
Right. You guys are coming right back.
Almost. And I tell people all the time, so if it was 150 days or 120 days, it usually was 120, I think 120 and change. And you're out the door, I don't know, 120 times. Almost every day you're out the door. There were some times you weren't, but surge time frame. I remember we were posted out of El Asad for a long time in this one particular portion. And I've talked about it before, being the best of times and worst of times. Mm-hmm. We could do what we wanted to do with almost impunity until we didn't have impunity, until, vehicle gets blown up, until helicopter crashes, until, then you're like, well, you're not invincible. We had some really great luck though, again, too. I remember being on a helo before infill, and a giant amount of hydraulic fluid started pouring out all over top of all of us. And all right, get out, bump plan. What if that happened when we were at 5,000 feet? That would be bad. What if that happened when we were screaming over the sand tops of the hills or whatever? But back to what you say. I mean, we did an amazing amount of work, and there's a lot of cool stories, a lot of great dudes.
Do you remember essentially the time where you guys started to realize this things just got different? Did it kind of slowly surge up, just kind of operationally, or was it a time you're like, things are now different? Do you remember that?
Sort of, I guess. I mean, working out of the MSS, we were busy, but it wasn't always. It was a whole lot of dry holes, man. We did a whole lot of stuff that was like, that's no big deal. Out west, it was much different. Much different. There was something going on almost every night. I mean, something really going on. So, probably when we moved out west. So what was that? 5? It was 5 sometime frame.
Yeah. Was everything centered? I shouldn't say centered, but at least connected to Saddam. Was Saddam still just the driving force of everything you guys wanted to do?
Not in 5, right? Because he was done in 4. So now it's foreign fighters infilling all through the Western Euphrates River Valley. So that was the primary mission, was just crushing things that came in through the WERV.
Right. With this type of operational tempo, did it ever get to a point that as it continued that it wore you down? Like, I don't know how much longer I can continue this tempo.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes. There was times when you would just be like, any chance we could take a break just tonight? How about tonight? How about tomorrow night? I mean, you'd manufacture your own stuff. Guys would blow off steam by playing Halo and stuff. That wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
But we had dogs to look after, so we were working with them. Another partner of mine, Rob, gosh, he's an awesome dude. We'd sit up on the roof and smoke cigars. What? Cigars? we made it a point to go up on the roof and just sit up there, and only a couple of people come with us, maybe just ourselves.
Yeah.
And we just talk about the day, talk about different points of this or that, and we'd sit up there and watch the sky.
Would it affect your physical fitness by the end too? I mean, just making time for the gym, getting in the gym, recovery, or was that something that was always prioritized, and you had that because you knew what was coming up?
I remember being in pretty good shape back then, but certainly don't. Can I squeeze in 60 minutes here? Can I get that in here? But yeah, it was. Again, if you hang out with the right people,
that's right.
They're pushing you too. You're getting work on.
Did it get to a point? I just have a lot of questions when it comes to this time frame. When during this time frame, you're on, you're off, you're on. Was there a point when it was time to go again? I just want to make the difference. Yeah, I can see how you can get really tired after going out every night for 120 days straight. But at my time there, we had a big enough break. I was always excited to go on to the next deployment, just looking forward to it. Did it ever get to a point because the op tempo just during deployments and in between deployments was shortened that you're like, really, it's time to go again? Like, that it took the excitement of deployment out. Now, that seemed to be a weird thing for other people to understand, like the excitement of going to war, but we did. It's what we trained for. It's what we wanted to do. Did it steal that joy a little bit?
I think it certainly stole joy. I don't want to knock that over. Sorry. Joy. I'm not sure I ever had a lot of joy about it, but
excitement is probably a better word.
Okay, let me take you back to one of your. You're a senior dude in whatever organization you're in, and somebody makes you do a PT test. I don't know if this has ever happened to you or not, but it's happened to me.
Okay.
And so we'd line up and go, okay, well, you're going to do push-ups. And what's the minimum? Whatever it is, 52.
Yeah.
Say.
Sure.
I'm making numbers up, right? So I would say to somebody, I was not in a good mood or I'm not motivated. I say, I'm only going to do 52.
Okay.
Did you ever experience that at all, ever?
Never.
Okay. So, but as soon as you start doing them, and your partner's going to do 82.
Right.
Well, you're going to go better than that.
That's right.
So this is my equation. So going into another night, right. Another night, and but as soon as you start doing it, all right, you're back in. You're good. Now we're good. We're good. And you gotta always watch. You can't be complacent. You can't go, well, I'm just not gonna pay attention tonight because it's not something for you anyway. It's for the guy next to you.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and just in that environment, and that's just another really good point. You're expected to do everything right, and it's what tier 1 organizations do. They do the big things right, but they do the small things right.
Have to.
But usually, it's a little bit of complacency, and it's doing one of the small things not right that snowballs into something bigger. So when you're on this, you can't afford to get in that type of rut that you'll allow the small things to get away from you because it turns out tragically. So it's very hard to stay turned on mentally that the whole time from start to finish, and then do it rotation after rotation after rotation.
One of the cool memories to me is flying back with the sun coming up, and sometimes the sun is fully up.
Yeah,
but it's still early morning.
Yeah.
And you could just relax because you're on the helicopter, you're on the airplane, man. You're going back. Take a breather. That was, to me, that was really cool. And I could just see us in the door watching the terrain go by. Now they need to be switched on now, but you can relax a little bit now.
Right. You can. It's time to take it in.
Yeah, take it in.
Yeah. I don't think I did enough of that. To be honest with you, but I do remember doing that occasionally on a mountainside, on a helo ride back. For me, it's odd. I don't think it's that odd actually, because
it's not odd at all.
Yeah, which is this. Usually, what went on in my head when I'm taking it in was, I wish my dad could see me now.
That's cool.
I thought about that all the time. I wish my dad could see me now.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah.
Thought about it all the time. Well, yeah. He's still with us, so it's okay. I can tell him about it.
Good.
For now.
I tell you what, all right, my dad, emotional story about my dad. He joined for Vietnam and he got removed. He got rejected. His buddy went. He didn't go, but he came back alive, thank God. But, is it possible that I wouldn't be born because my father, or whatever? I was 64, I was born, so never mind. So maybe it was after that. It doesn't matter. But he bought me a book one day, and it's like quotes, military quotes or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the book was, sadly. But when he gave it to me, he's like, this is what I always wanted to do, and I could never do it. And he's like, I look up to you so much. I'm like, wait, what? The father I love and look up to is you telling me that you looking up to me for doing this?
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool moments like that.
Yeah, I grew up in a household. My dad was drafted for Vietnam, but he didn't have to go. It was the very end of the war. He always wanted to be a fighter pilot, but when he tried to enlist, his eyes weren't good enough. And so he went on the rest of his life just being a spectator and a fan of the military and fighter jets specifically. So he'd take me and my brother Drew to air shows all the time, and we'd watch military movies. And I remember my dad reading Tom Clancy books growing up, but my dad didn't say a whole lot to us. So it wasn't until after my military career where even during it to some degree that my dad started like opening up and was really impressed. I don't know if the word impressed is what I want to use, but proud. And start saying, like, I'm proud of you. He got softer in his old age. He's a big softy now.
Oh,
What?
I remember we were watching Band of Brothers before or after, had been after, right? After the first strike back, we're in we're at Jazrat Masira off the coast, and we're watching Band of Brothers because it started right before 9/11 hit. So, and he's like, what did he say? He said, when you get older, you're going to be crying about one thing or another. You're all sitting in this thing, and he's so right. I'm like, you're spot on, brother Pat, because I get all soupy about all kind of stuff like that, man. And it's funny too because there's a whole lot of stuff in Band of Brothers. If you go back now and after my combat career, I'm like, I saw that. Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that I remember something like that too. Just a different person.
I don't know what it is. It's only happened recently to me. It's in the last few years. But when I watch war movies where someone dies, even though I don't think about my fallen teammates a whole lot, and I don't usually cry, when I think about them. If it's on their anniversary, I may think about them a little bit more. Then I put it back in my box and I put it in the back of my mind.
Mickey's on tomorrow, by the way.
Thank you. But when I watch it in the movie now, it tugs at my heartstrings a lot harder. And I'm like, I don't do this in real life. Why is it when I watch this movie, I'm having to hide crying, and I don't even do that in real life. And another one, it's just, I don't know, we get these odd rabbit trails, but
It's all right.
a rabbit hole is
Is that trailer a hole?
It's a hole. It's a hole. Sports movies. Like you want to watch Miracle on Ice?
Oh, dude, I'm in.
I'm done.
I'm in.
Every time they beat the Russians, I'm like, you son of bitches did it.
I watched that game in my basement, bro. I watched that game. I heard Al Michaels say it live.
Yeah, those movies will do it, dude.
I'm a huge hockey fan too.
Two very different movies, but they get me.
Oh, I hope
they
that.
get me.
You when Fury when they start quoting Isaiah.
Yeah.
No, you stay. You stay. So yeah, I mean it's okay. My friend of mine said you're getting gay. Because that's what happens. That's what happens.
As long as you're not wearing Crocs. And that's an inside joke.
That's an inside joke. If you know, you know.
From
Indiana Tactical Officer Association.
Right. the end of your career. 31 years. You put in enough time, but rarely. I think this is so true. I think no matter how high you go and how far you go, I don't think anyone's career ends exactly the way they want, because there's always something else that they want to do. I don't care if you were the sergeant major of USASOC and you wanted to be the sergeant major of JSOC. There's always something else, that woulda, could have been. And people from the outside look at that and like, 31 years, Ranger, the unit, like you were good. But something tells me, or maybe you're lucky enough. You weren't. That's right. Neither was I. I medically retired for a reason. How'd the end of your career go?
Without fanfare. My retirement service, by the way, at the organization was absolutely awesome, and I'll never forget it. What forced me to retire medically, I had 4 back surgeries in my career, but 2 at the unit. One after that when I was working for the agency, and a 4th one after that. But it was cancer in 2009 that pretty much stopped everything. 2009, yeah, pretty sure it's 2009. We had I have to look at my calendar, but it's not funny. It's either Veterans Day or Memorial Day time frame. We had a cul-de-sac party. We had guys from the organization over here, some SF guys, and other guys on the other side of the cul-de-sac. We all got together. We walked around, had drank whiskey, beer, ate great food, and then late at night, I'm like, I got some gastrointestinal problems. So what? It makes sense. Yeah. About 4 o'clock in the morning, I wake up with intense pressure. I'm just all jacked up. And finally I say I have to go to the hospital. So I go to the ER. They can't determine what's wrong with me. They think it's kidney stones. I go back to the house. I drink cranberry and water, and I take a bunch of Percocet for the pain, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And Monday I'm like, I'm fine. I'll be okay. But I look in the mirror and I can see my back is distended. I know I'm bloated from all the liquid I'm drinking trying to pass these stones.
Right.
But my back is distended. And I go, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right. So I'll go in tomorrow. That's exactly. I'm like, you're an idiot. I look back on it, and Craig Taylor told me, he said, it's a great story because I was dying the entire time. But we're like, we'll just wait till tomorrow because
you're right. Yeah.
I mean, the clinic's not open now anyway. We'll just wait till tomorrow. So I went in, and they were like, hey, an hour later, I don't think, something like that. It was emergency surgery. You could see my cavity grow like a second hand on a clock. Jason Hiles was a JMAL internal surgeon. He was awesome, saved my life. And he took me out. He took me back and carved it all out. They had to pull everything out and clean it up twice. They removed almost 12 inches of upper GI. The gastrointestinal stromal tumor exploded. That's what had happened. It had been there for a while, and apparently it exploded. This led to a lot of other things, like, how do we do preventive medicine for the dudes?
Yeah.
Should you go get a CT scan with contrast every 6 months? Should you do one every year? Or should you get internal stuff, more colonoscopies? Because they probably could have found it if they did more tests on me beforehand.
Especially all the things you've been exposed to and all the places.
And who knows, right? Who knows? And the variables are pretty much out of the roof.
Right.
5 years to live they gave me. So
what year is this when they give you 5 years to live?
9.
2009?
Yeah,
Okay.
9. And so I left the unit in 13. After the second back surgery, the doc was like, you shouldn't jump anymore. So now I'd come to a place where I'm supposed to be 5 years to live. I'm not supposed to jump anymore. He told me I shouldn't wear my kit anymore because of stress on my back. I'm like, man, come on.
What can I do?
And so I wrote the unit sergeant major. I wrote him. I said, listen, I feel bad about this, but I think I need to make a decision here. And what you just said earlier is what he wrote back. And I wish I could show it to you. I have it somewhere, but I'll show it to you later, but I don't have it with me. but he said, you've done enough. Now, I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I don't think I wanted to do much more. Ended up finishing as the K9 troop thing, Sergeant Major, which was important in itself. It was plenty of important things to do there, and we made a great ground and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't. I wanted more. Yeah, I did. I did want more. So I'm guilty of that. Had another third back surgery, like I said, had a fourth one. And the fourth one was like genius. It was the fusion. I'm like, why did we need a fusion in the beginning? Well, it doesn't work that way. But I can do all kinds of stuff now.
You know, it's funny when it comes to back surgeries. Luckily, I've not needed one yet. But I always get really mixed reviews on people who have back surgeries. They either say, I don't know why I waited so long. I've had a fair amount of people say it's. I wish I never had this back surgery. It's worse, and it's just it's always. I guess I don't know if interesting is the word I want to use, but interesting to me. Everything we know about the body, and when it comes to something as intricate as the back, that we're not 100% on fixing it. What was your first back surgery?
2000, laminectomy, discectomy, lower lumbar.
Wear and tear or something specifically?
Wear and tear. I needed it in Ranger Battalion.
Okay.
And, you know, like they say, well, you need to stop what you're doing. I'm like, I'm a squad leader. Thursday, we have a road march. I'm not stopping. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to lose your job or you're going to keep going. So there was that. And then Dr. Monacci at Walter Reed said, you 7 years, you're going to need no one.
Okay.
I'm like, why not now? He goes, doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But you're going to need another one. 7 years, not to the date. I got another one. Same kind of thing. It was a lower lateral laminectomy, discectomy, same kind of thing. And so, and then the third one was later on, and fourth one was fusion. So I got hardware in my back big time.
I think it's easier for me to say this than for you to live through it. And in your case, it was something kind of outside of your control that caused your departure from the military. And I don't know if that helps, because you can say, hey, it was, it's not because of me. It's outside of my control.
Thanks, Brad.
Or it's just as frustrating because why did it happen to me? Like, how did you deal with that part of your life?
Getting off the train is the hardest part. Offline, we talked about one of the commanders saw me in Erbil, northern Iraq, and said, hey, you need to stop by. Like, I can't just stop by. I don't have a badge. I can't just walk in and use the multi-million-dollar strength training facility. I can't just go to ASP and get some ammunition and go shoot on Fox. It's just impossible. So, right. But missing that, it was so cool to come back to be able to see dudes working. Mm-hmm. That was cool. To be able to be part of another organization that I could just kind of peek in a little bit and see faces that I knew, friendly faces. It was always a great reunion. Always good to say, hey. One of the times when one of the elements was going to do a surprise big time piece of work, and they all flew in to Erbil, and I'm like, man, they're locked in there. They're locked down. I'm going to go see them, and I'm going to bring them some booze. And they loved it. Now, like this, here comes Dutch with some Maker's Mark, and they ended up. I said, keep it for the celebratory drink when you're done.
Yeah.
And they ended up staying there like 3 weeks or something ridiculous, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I missed it. Yeah, big time. And I still do. I miss the camaraderie. If I'm able to go back there on occasion and say, hey, I do. But now my job is down in South Carolina, so I'm just farther away.
Let's talk about what you do now.
So you may see this very cool shirt I'm wearing.
I see the shirt and I've been there.
The sawmill.
You weren't there.
Complex.
You weren't there when I went there.
I was not there when you were there.
Yeah.
Sentinel work?
Sentinel. Yeah. We did a fundraiser for the Sentinel Foundation.
Those are good people.
Yeah. And it's a great facility.
Appreciate it. How long ago was that for you?
End of last year.
It is way better now. Way better.
I don't just say this. It's true. Because I continue to train at various places. I'm usually let down at training facilities. There's just usually older. They're run down. They don't keep up with it. Just lack of ability to go to range, or lack of steel to be able to do what you want to do. It's very underwhelming, the options out there. So when you go to a place like Sawmill, it's refreshing. And you're like,
so glad.
And you're like, good. Someone reinvests into their company. Someone cares. Someone keeps something clean.
Very kind.
Someone has all the options.
Thank you.
I love the trip. I went there because it was refreshing.
250 acres, big pro shop and stuff like that. Who cares? Just tactical base. We have a 1,400 yard, all steel, long range, precision range. 48 person capacity lodge, full kitchen, gym. The gym's going to be outfitted by Sorinex really soon. We got all new steel everywhere. We've got new bays. We got 2 big obstacle courses, sort of like the big O and the CTO, kind of like that. We have a Mount City. We have a little sim house, big sim house, and then now we put in like a 6-building complex. If you know, you know. And Eric Carr came on board. So we have 4 core dudes, all military guys. Mike Carter, Tommy Flynn, Eric Carr, and myself. And it's just been, we have partnership with Fabrique Nationale right now, FN America. The shirt I'm wearing is Born Primitive. We got a relationship with them. Supervel Ammunition, Black Rifle Coffee. Sorry. Mark Schmitz is running Black Rifle right now, so we're trying to get it on board. More exposure is what we want, right? Yeah. We want to work with them. Who am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing someone. Faro Concepts. But it's First Form Energy and stuff like that. First Form supplements.
Right.
It's Wiley X, Gators. Those are some of the folks who are Gunfighter Gun Oil. Gosh, I forgot about Mickey. It's really been a cool journey in the last even 7 or 8 months. Eric's got great energy. Mike's excellent with the skid steer. We got the equipment we need to make the places we need. We're doing an archery thing now. It used to be Sawmill Tactical Training Complex. Now it's Sawmill Training Complex. Okay. Where they're putting in a platform for skeet. We're doing an archery course. We have Sawmill Outdoors. We used to call it bushcraft. And Mike's like, hey, look, bushcraft just means one thing. Outdoors means all this stuff. So it makes more sense to do that. We're bringing in some experts to help train the trainers. I'm telling you, it's off to a really good start in 26 from the SHOT Show. So we're looking forward to a really healthy 26. 25 was really healthy, especially the back end of it. The last 2 quarters were really good. So we have a membership program now we didn't used to have like we do. So it's been really cool.
Got any courses coming up for 26 that you are teaching?
I do. So I have like 13. Okay. They have 13 on the board right now. I will touch more than 13 in a year. Last year, I think I touched 41 different things, whether they're personal or law enforcement or military. We had 7th Group come out. We had Catawba County SWAT, Anderson County, Greenville, Clinton, Lawrence City. So yeah, I had a lot of interaction with local law enforcement.
I assume you guys have all that in the calendar on the website.
All on the calendar website. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, I will put the link in the description of this episode, so they can go down and just click right on it.
Like 3 things I'd say that I'm really focused on for me is Evolutionary Gunfighters, my more key thing. 2 days worth of shootings, a whole lot of shooting. It kind of mirrors a shooting program, and then couples therapy where you can bring your wife, girlfriend, and that's a really good time. That's a fun one. That's a lot of fun time, man. And then Bullets and Bourbon. We do Bullets and Bourbon twice a year, once in May, once in May for Veterans Day. No, May's Memorial Day time frame, and then November for Veterans Day time frame. We do 6 or 7 USPSA type stages plus steel stuff, and then we get together and we honor those men and women who gave the last full measure of devotion to their nation. and it's so cool. This year, the Green Beret Foundation reached out. They want to do a collab. I think my last Bullets and Bourbon was 45 people. So I know a guy who has a cask company. Maybe
Interesting. Interesting.
maybe we could get together and do something. I don't know.
I think we can.
But we're looking forward to a really good 26. And the guys are amazing. Tom Flynn, he's a former Marine commissioned officer. Eric Carr, former non-commissioned officer Marine, and Mike Carter, former Air Force guy. Plus, he did EMT stuff. He's done all kind of stuff. Heavy equipment operator. So it's been real fun.
It's one of my favorite places to go because I know it's a place I can go shoot and smoke some FRCC cigars at the same time. It's just a special place.
You may not know this, but there's a humidor. There's some guy named Brent Tucker helped us out with, and we have FRCC cigars there on property. Yes, sir.
The Dutch, I can't thank you enough for coming down here. It's been a long time coming, but you got a funny story for me?
Well, we talked about a couple funny stories already, right? But here's one. It's stupid, funny, but maybe tragic, funny. I don't know, whatever. So, all right. So I'm at the most important course in my entire career.
Okay.
Right? The most, if you know, you know. And one of the first things you do is this large obstacle course. And this one obstacle, I can't remember exactly how it looks, but it's got like a rope that goes up or over and over again. And then you got to dismount the rope, whatever it is. So I go up here and I'm all confident. I'm going to just run up there and do it. And I run out of gas at the tall one and I'm out. My hands are out. I'm not doing it properly. So I'm just muscling it over and I'm smoked. So I release my hands and I'm locked in like a bat with my boots. And they were all kind of laughing at me, but I don't know what to do.
I've never seen that.
And they're gonna try to catch me, and I'm still 8 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
they're gonna try to catch me. Long story short was I fall, I smash my head a little bit. They catch me a little bit because I'm still, then I was 205 pounds.
Okay.
And so I recover. But what's the next day? The next day is this 100 meter swim test, which, the aforementioned Dutch doesn't swim very well.
Right.
We already talked about that. We already covered that. Right?
Your Achilles heel of the swim test.
We already covered that crap. So I got to do the swim test, but guess what? I'm wearing this medical collar. I don't have to do it.
That works out.
So I go through the whole course, the most important course of my entire life. I get done through all the really important stuff, and we're close to the end.
Right.
And everybody's assigned a counselor. Everybody's got one. And he comes up to me and says, "Hey, swim test. You got 45 minutes. I'll meet you at the pool."
Are you kidding me?
I fail.
Months and months later, they come back at you with the swim test?
Months and months. Months and months. And he's like, we got a week to go before it's over.
Right.
And he goes, 45 minutes, I'll see you at the pool. I fail. Immediately fail. And so I get two of my good friends. One now is a general. The other one is, I don't know what he's now, but he was a best Ranger competitor and winner.
So
no joke. I think it was an Olympic swimmer too. I think it was a collegiate swimmer.
JM?
Sure. Yeah. JM was a collegiate swimmer, pretty sure. And JB.
I worked for him.
Yeah. You did work for him?
I worked for him. Yeah.
Good or bad, right? Good.
Great.
Oh, I love that guy.
Great.
I love me some JM. Jimmy, I can say that.
One of my favorite people that I ever worked for.
Awesome. So
yeah.
I asked for help, and I think they even volunteered to help, to be honest. And we went to the gym in the Olympic size pool every night after work. Every night. And then because they gave me, they looked at me and said, "Well, you got about a month. You got about a week or so.
Yeah.
Then you're done."
Yeah.
And I made it. I passed. So.
Oh, that is hilarious. That the swim test, it almost like bookends to your career. It haunted you at the beginning, but even towards the end of it, it still reared its ugly head.
And to let you know, I'm a much better swimmer now than I ever was before.
I
So I have to be now.
I wish I could redo the beginning of this episode and let you know that there needs to be a swim test to get on the episode. Or say, don't worry, there's no swim test to get on the episode.
That's what you should have said. Yeah.
Well, apparently it's never too late to give him a swim test. You got 45 minutes, Dutch.
Gosh, no.
Well, and you're a strong swimmer. Now it's too late to correct it. There's no more swim tests
I
in your
wouldn't say I'm a
future,
strong
Dutch.
swimmer. I wouldn't say I'm strong anyway.
I added that. Okay.
Dan Taylor used to say, I'm a survival swimmer. If I have to survive, I will swim. Other than that, no. I'm not a Navy SEAL, guys.
Obviously, because you haven't written a book. Guys, thanks so much for watching. It won't happen that many times just because of sheer numbers, but to have a tier 1 guy on the Tier 1 podcast is special. Let's go out. Let's smoke some cigars, smoke some cigars, and tell some stories that we couldn't tell.
Can do.
All right.
Thanks, bro.
Guys.